All right, guys, this is Emmett Stallworth again, the Alpha Builder, and man, I'm probably here at about, oh man, it might be 3:50 in the morning. Just had things on my mind. I had to get it out. I got a board of items, things I need to do. I have content that I need to do videos on, but this right here today is going to be three side hustles for subcontractors, or three subcontractor side hustles for builders. This is something that builders really need, guys. We really need this right here, and it would be something that me as a builder, I would pay somebody if you can get in here and do this right here. Now, two of them is something that I think I made up. I don't know if I made them up. I think I made up two of them, but one of them is something that has been out there. It just hadn't really proliferated here in Alabama yet, because a lot of the municipalities don't really understand it and they're not really enforcing it. But probably half of the municipalities, the major municipalities here, with the exception of Birmingham, is requiring these items. Okay, gotta have my coffee too, guys. So these are three side hustle builder idea, a side hustle subcontractor ideas for builders. All right, number one would be a punch out guy. I have been telling my students this, man. I mean, I think every class I have, I talk about the punch out man. And a punch out guy would be somebody. So, and you can do several different punch outs. You can do a framing punch out, and you can do maybe a after drywall punch out, and then maybe a final punch out guy. But definitely a framing punch out and a final punch out guy. I would pay for that. Because here's what's happening. So guys, in the building industry, you just don't know, it's the ebbs and flows of the economy. It just depends on how people, the interest rates and things like that. So I just can't go out there and just hire a bunch of superintendents to do a bunch of different things, because I just don't really know the outcome of the economy. And so that's what builders live on. So, but these are items that you can do, and you can subcontract this right here out, kind of like you can gig this out. This is a gig item. It's part of the gig economy. You can just have, instead of me having a superintendent, I could just have somebody to come out and do the punch things. And the punch out guy, what you would do is I would number one, the punch out works like this. So at the end of a house, when I'm done, okay, me and that homeowner, we're gonna walk through this house. We're gonna walk through it, and this doesn't matter whether you're doing a spec home or a custom home. Doesn't matter. You and that homeowner or the owner of that house are gonna walk that house, and we're gonna make a list of all the items that the owner has a concern about. And typically what I do is I have some blue tape, and I put that blue tape on all those items. Now, guys, I suggest you guys get into the National Association of Home Builders performance guidelines. So there's a manual that they have that's out there that says that, hey, these things are within tolerances, these things are not. If they're not in tolerance, this is what the builder needs to handle. This is what the builder needs to do. So number one, that punch out guy needs to be familiar with that. Then what you do is you go through that whole house and the homeowner's concern. Just because you put it on the punch list or whatever the concern is, and you put a piece of blue tape on it, doesn't mean you need to do what they want you to do. That's why you need to read the performance guidelines to make sure that things are in tolerance. So the punch out guy, so a list is generated. So once you generate that list, man, it could be depends on what kind of builder you had and how everything worked on the front end. It could be a list of maybe you can have 100 items on there. And what the punch out guy is going to do is they're going to go through that list. Well, the builder needs to go through that list first and say, hey, these are the things. They need to look at the the performance guidelines and check off the things that the builder is going to handle. And once the builder determines I got a list of items that I need to handle, and guys, these things need to be handled and done and completed before that homeowner moves in. There does not need to be any outstanding items before that homeowner moves in. Don't allow it, guys. That's how you get yourself into a builder headache, because they're gonna forever call you back. It's not gonna stop. Get all those things, every last one, 100% of them, every last one of them that needs to be addressed. So that punch out guy's gonna walk through there and they're gonna correct all of those things. They're gonna make, and this needs to be a very handy person. Now things like cabinets and stuff like that, you need to have the cabinet. If it's a new construction, have your cabinet guy come back out there and handle that stuff. Or the punch out guy could be the guy who have the list of all the subcontractors and make sure they get that stuff done. You may have a list of everybody, but there are small things that punch out guy should be able to do to make sure that the process keeps moving. You have a van or something with a bunch of different things in it. You might need to just tighten up. You don't want to call the cabinet guy out there just to tighten up a knob or something like that. So you need to have basic things to be able to handle. And there may be things like somebody might have forgot to put one of the little adjustable things on the supply line on your returns for your heating and cooling. The little vents. Got to put a vent down. That punch out guy needs to make a list and go get all that stuff and get that stuff done. And then, send me an invoice. You can make some money off of that, man. I could just see a van right now that have the punch out man on it. And their builders will pay for it. And then not only that, once you become a punch out guy, you need to join the Home Builders Association as an associate member. And then now you got access to a bunch of builders, and then the builders, you can solicit their business. Okay, so that's number one, punch out man. Number two, a foundation and framing Q&A person. Now, this may be just a little bit different than your punch out guy. Punch out guys handle little bitty things, things that needs to get done to get you on out of there. But the foundation and framing Q&A person, quality and assurance, I would pay for that. And what that is, so let's just say, for instance, on the foundation, let's say I got a monolithic slab, got a set of blueprints. My foundation Q&A guy, he's going to go out there, he or she, they're going to go out there. They're going to make sure that the guys, let's say if I'm doing a monolithic slab, they're going to make sure that when they form that slab, every measurement on that plan is right. So sometimes you have offsets on the front of the house and things. All of that needs to be right. They need to check to make sure that the house is square. Little thing, every measurement, you go all the way around that house. Make sure that the footing has the right depth. They may even have a ground probe that they can check it just to make sure all of that stuff is right. Make sure the thickness of the gravel is right. Make sure that all your plumbing drops, all the plumbing drops in that slab are where they're supposed to be at. Make sure they in the walls. So when you frame it, you don't have a plumbing drop sitting over here and you got to readjust that wall, So making sure all of those things are in the right place. And that's just the foundation person. But and then you have that gal to come back out during the framing part to make sure all the windows are in the right place. I had a house not too long ago, man, that the whole front, the door was in the wrong spot. I mean, the front door, you had the A-frame of the house and the front door was way over here and it should have been right there in the center. Things like that. Make sure all that stuff is right. Make sure every door, every window, according to the plans, is just like it say on the plan, is in the right place. And then you can take it a notch further. Make sure all the LVL beams, you can get a list of the LV, if you got, engineered portions of it, make sure all that stuff is right. Make sure all the framing is right. You can do the framing. You can do the framing stuff. Make sure all the stuff is correct. And I would do that before my MEPs come in. I would do that before my mechanical, electrical, plumbers come in. I will make sure all that stuff is done, because one thing you don't want those guys to do is start drilling holes and running wires and stuff through framing that's not right. So I would have my framers do their thing, and then I would have my Q&A person, my foundation and framing Q&A person to come in and check behind all those guys. Check behind my framers and check behind my concrete guys. Because let me just say this right here, guys. In the state of, now I can speak for the state of Alabama, but I think that most states are very similar. Very similar guidelines. You're responsible for that foundation, man. Structural items, you're responsible for that stuff up to 7 years. And that's about how long it's going to take for you to see failure. So I would make sure, I would pay for that person right there, man. I would pay for that. Once again, that person can join the Home Builders Association as an associate member and solicit the builders. Man, builders would pay for that, especially custom guys. That way you can, even if you're a builder, you got a superintendent that should check all that stuff. They may have 3 or 4 projects going on at one time, and they may have to just hire you to just handle this one particular project. Depends on how big it is. I would pay for that. And this would also help the builder in the truck. Some of the builders that, like I said, guys, you got to merge together. Two or three builders got to come together and make one building company in today's market, man. Just so much going on. But with these type of side hustles, if I had access to these people right here, you wouldn't need to do that. You can kind of do things on your own. Okay? All right. That was number 2. So number 1 was a punch out man. Number 2 is a foundation and framing Q&A personnel. And I think there are some companies that already kind of got people that they do something like that with. But I tell my students all the time, man, this is a good little hustle, man. You just got to jump into this thing. All right, now the last one, I didn't make this one up, guys. This is something that I saw coming. I saw it coming probably 15 to 20 years ago. A raider, a home raider. And what a raider does, so what's happening now, guys, is that homes are having to carry they got to carry something more of a, it's like when you see the Energy Star badge on these appliances, they're starting to make homes have the same thing. So the home has to have what they call a HERS rating. It's called a home energy rating system. And what that does, it checks to see how efficient that home is, to make sure that those homes are energy efficient, guys. The biggest thing that we're moving toward right now, man, is energy. Energy is critical. The person who can control or who have a handle on energy consumption and how we use energy moving forward, it's going to be the guys that do really, really well. So we have renewable energy that's coming out, solar panels, geothermal, I think is probably one of the better ones, but no one can really work on that stuff. But, you got solar, you got wind, you got hydroelectric, things of that nature. So you got batteries that's coming out. You got cars. Most of guys, I'm seeing more electric vehicles on the road now than not. Guys, just 3 or 4 years ago, when I bought my first Tesla, no one was driving them things. Matter of fact, people would stop me and, man, why would you get something like that? Now, man, probably every 10th car here in Alabama is probably an EV, whether it's Tesla, it's anybody else. But everybody's getting into this. Everybody, the new generation, man. The new generation, they don't care nothing about gas and stuff like that. They just want performance, and they want something they don't have to use. They don't have to do a lot of maintenance on, and they don't have to do no oil change and stuff like that. So energy is where it's at. So this is what's happening. So the building, the houses are starting to be the same way, guys. They're starting to really zoom in on the energy consumption of that house. No longer can we build these houses that's very leaky, or houses that's not insulated correctly, or the windows don't have good solar heat gain coefficients and things like that. So this is why the municipalities, even in our area, is forcing us to have a home energy rating system done. At least at a bare minimum, they want you to have a duct blaster and a blower door test done. And that's usually done by what we call a rater. Now, the equipment that you're gonna get in order to get going is probably gonna cost you about between $4,000 to $5,000. And you may have to go over to South Phase Energy Institute or somewhere to get your certification in order to be the person to do the rating. But I can tell you guys, you would never go without work here where I'm at. There's probably about maybe three people in the entire area that I know, probably even in Alabama, that are the only ones that does that here. They're the only ones that does it here, man. So, and they can advise you on how, like to make sure that it meets the requirement so that when you get down to the end of your house, it will perform. See, now guys, houses are having to perform. It's not just, I'm just going to do it according to the code and all this kind of stuff. You guys, your house got to perform. Now, they got to come out and they got to put this equipment on it, the duct blaster and blower door test, et cetera. They're going to run those things, man. And if those numbers are not right, you're going to have to figure something out in that house, man. You got to go. And I've been there before, guys. And so you want these guys to come in, like doing the framing and then toward the, at least in the framing, because you don't want to cover up stuff. Now you got to uncover stuff to fix it. So that rater, and man, you can I think a rater probably for each one of them I do, man, they may charge me, I probably set aside about $1,000 for the rater for each house. Now, this is another thing that's kind of driving the cost of houses up again, guys, because these are regulated by the local municipalities or the governments. But those are the three things, guys. So once again, let me kind of recap. One would be that punch out man. Number two, you want to have a foundation and framing Q&A person. That's number two. And then the third one would be a home rater. But hey, guys, if you like this kind of content, guys, share this right here with someone else, or like it, or not unlike it, whatever you want to do. But guys, comment on it. Let me know what you want me to write, what you want me to do content on. Once again, guys, like, share, subscribe, and thank you guys for stopping by.